Blood Brothers podcast, a Five Pillars of Mad Mamluks production.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers, sisters, friends, and yes, even foes. And welcome to another episode of the Blood Brothers podcast with your host, Dilly Hussain, and my co-host,
Aki Hussain. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
And today we have yet another special guest. And I guess every episode's going to have loads of special guests, but today's one is truly special. For those of you at least know him or have heard of him, and that's Brother Zeeshan Ali, aka Smile2Jannah.
Oh, you can move the mic with the knock.
Has everyone told you that you've got a particular kind of nose that may be attributed to probably a different demographic of people?
Who?
I'm not going to say it for political correctness. I'm probably for not getting down for hate speech.
Oh my God, we know what kind of.
Are you okay? You're gonna knock this. You're gonna knock the mic off, bro.
Yeah, it is, bro.
That's the end of the podcast, bro.
Anyway, so you were.
Can't start off with that.
Why are you coming here trying to tell us how to do the podcast?
Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn.
That's fine. He's gonna be the next prime minister soon. For a snap election.
What?
Jeremy
do you think Jeremy Corbyn's going to be the next prime minister?
If there's a snap election, yeah.
Considering the power
I
of
don't think
corporations. So. Thank you.
I don't think so.
I like you, bro.
That is hopeful.
And I think you have very good skin.
MashaAllah. Thank you, bro. That's really nice of you to say that.
I think, mashallah, you're a very handsome man.
Alhamdulillah.
Dilly, you...
Do you think Dilly's? Do you look like brothers?
I think he's average.
Okay.
So average is 5 out of 10?
I was being generous with average.
30. Okay. So what would you score him out of 10? What would you score him out of 10?
I mean, 10 is a relative... I mean, are we dealing minus numbers or...
Okay.
What's the...
A 10 either way.
Zeeshan.
He's going for the pun. You know, he was in a mad one with the pun yesterday. He hit double digits.
Smash.
With regards to servings.
The point I'm trying to make is that I've seen some of your previous podcasts and you seem to disrupt it a lot. Why'd you do that for?
Look, I know you're on that pan thing, yeah?
Yeah.
You know, go to your support group, you know that...
Why do you disrupt podcasts? Why do you do that for?
What do you mean?
You do. You come onto man's podcast. You did it with Musa on Rerouted. You did it on Info. You just come on. You shake off the host, and it's like this kind of very tacit, subconscious.
But what does tacit mean?
Tacit means like it's not overt.
What does overt mean?
There we go.
Huh?
It's not obvious.
Do you think you're funny? Genuine question.
Do I think I'm funny?
Do you think you're funny?
It depends. Certain situations, certain people bring it out of me.
How is someone's level of humour measured? Is it by the person saying they're funny themselves, or is it a consensus of people who view them?
Right? I would agree with that second one.
Isn't it? You can't say yourself, yeah I think I'm funny, bruv.
Yeah.
It has to be the people say, so-and-so is really funny, you know that you should watch his stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't...
Do you think people say that about you?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, they do. Because it's subjective. Like I personally...
But it's mainly like 12-year-old kids, right?
12-year-old kids, alhamdulillah, also do.
But that's mainly your target
In addition
audience,
to...
I wish it was, bro. You know, if 12-year-old kids were my target audience, I would have smashed it. That would mean
Do it properly.
Come on. Sound test. You're probably going to get an injury doing that.
Wait. Okay, I did the sound in later.
Yeah, we'll do something and we'll make it like a wild noise.
So back to your target audience.
Yeah.
Zeeshan.
If it was 12, you know what it would have?
What?
It would have quick cuts, it would have colour, it would have excitement. And if you get the kids at that age, bro, you've locked them in. They're going to grow up now watching your stuff. I wouldn't say that maybe with the sketches at the start they did. Now with the political videos, it's gone a bit different now, Dilly.
Once you hit that 100,000 subscribers, you flipped it, innit?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I thought, you know what, why not?
So who is your target audience then?
My target audience.
I thought it was like the 12 to 16-year-olds.
You thought wrong, Dilly.
Okay, fine. Enlighten me.
Yeah, correct us.
Alright. My target audience are the non-practicing. Yeah, I used to work with scholars on certain videos that they would do, and it wouldn't reach the people who we thought it would be reaching, because they look at somebody and he's talking about the Day of Judgment for an hour. And some people can't relate with that. So I was like, okay, how do we get to the people that actually need it? And comedy at that time, it was big. Like Vine, big. YouTube big.
What time? What kind of period are we talking?
This was
2000 and...
I don't know. Maybe
05?
No, 2012.
2006 was when YouTube started.
Yeah.
Approximately. I'd say maybe 6, 7.
So you're talking about YouTube platform only, yeah? So you weren't doing things before that? You weren't making video clips and circulating
No. YouTube was a thing. YouTube was a
Yeah.
That was. I mean, before YouTube, I had.
So prior to YouTube, where were you?
I had dial-up internet, so.
Okay.
So
We
part-
didn't
part-
have dial-up internet.
Yeah, so prior to YouTube, you were a nobody, right?
Prior to YouTube, I was a somebody.
Nobody.
To my mum.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, my
Alhamdulillah.
mum just said
Are you
You
gonna be
could
Sean-
become whatever you want to.
he knows.
Yeah.
You know why I like him?
Why do you like him, Sean? I asked you, your target audience, I always thought about budget. That's the truth. I thought it was all his kids.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to tell me that
I
it's
wish it was. What I'm saying is that would be an advantage. The thing is, you can't get those kids because we're competing with Avengers. We're competing with Captain Marvel. We're competing with Transformers.
What's this madness?
It's conspiracies. That's why I'm here.
Okay. So you're one of them arrivals Muslims, basically. Which would be that the Zionists were behind everything. The Jews were on day off on 9/11.
But you started off the podcast like that. I haven't said anything.
No, I heard
Bro.
there's a false narrative out there that on 9/11 all the Jews took a day off work. Are you one of those guys?
No comment, bro.
Oh my days! So you're not even gonna deny it?
I'm not gonna accept it, and I'm not gonna accept it.
Okay.
Is that enough content for you?
Declassified.
I don't know. When it comes to that sort of stuff, to be honest, I don't totally ignore it just because I'm supposed to. But I look at the evidence, and there are evidences, but it's not enough for me to conclusively say, oh, this definitely happened or that didn't happen. The thing with conspiracies is there's always going to be incomplete evidence.
Okay.
And the evidence that you need are from those very people you're trying to refute.
So from your research, just to put this point to bed, from your research, did you find that good one, great one, and that's what I told you
That's
to
a raise some pulses.
Yeah, that was a good sound test, isn't it? TK, use that as a cushion, yeah. So from your research, did you find that Jews had taken some time off work on 9/11?
I haven't looked too much into this whole 9/11 stuff, and with the whole Jews thing, I don't know. I don't know too much to comment on that.
Okay.
To be honest,
Have you heard this conspiracy
I've heard the conspiracy, and
that they all took a day off work on that day?
yeah, I've heard that.
I think it's quite outrageous.
I mean, if that was the case, that's ludicrous.
Okay, but you said no comment.
I mean, that's because I can't comment on it. I don't know enough. And the thing is, when you start commenting on stuff that you don't know, and you don't have the evidence to back it up, you end up looking like this conspiracy kook.
But you seem to do a lot of that in your news recap, don't you? You talk about a lot of things you don't really have a grasp on.
No, I talk about stuff that's there clearly on mainstream media.
Well, without some whack narrative of it thinking you're funny over news. You can't.
Thinking.
Yeah, you can't trivialize news.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you're mocking journalism. That's what you're doing.
I know.
So why'd you do that for?
They deserve to be mocked.
Not really. You're a YouTuber. I think you should stay in your lane.
Journalists are not doing journalism. They ceased to do journalism about half a century ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I still do journalism.
Mate, you do 5 pillars, yeah? And you've clearly changed the logo and you can be bothered to change it over here, mate.
That's why I hid it behind the TV screen.
But then what about on the TV screen?
Yeah. It's old file, isn't it?
We're waiting for a graphic designer to pull out the new one.
Bro, all I'm saying, bro, is journalism is not what it used to be. It's like what Howard Zinn said.
No.
If you want to find out the news, you have to go to the dark corners of the library. You have to get these leaflets from these...
And this news cuttings from many years ago on these old reports.
Yeah, bro, come on, like... like, have you? When's the last time you heard when David Cameron did it with that pig's head? That died down very quickly. That Michael Gove with the cocaine, that's gonna die down very quickly. A lot of this stuff.
But those things aren't
Bush comes from Skull and Bones, and Skull and Bones have their own island. They have these weird ceremonies like lying naked in a coffin, kissing skulls, eating from Hitler's cutlery. It's known stuff. Skull and Bones originated from Yale, yeah? That's standard stuff. but people don't talk about it.
So before
You don't talk about it. I've not seen no 5 pillars.
because it's not really our thing, to be honest. So we don't. I'll tell you why that is because we don't want to be tarnished and we don't want to be seen as people who perpetuate conspiracy theories.
But that's not conspiracy theory. It's a fact.
Okay, but fine. What news value does it have to Islam and Muslims? What relevance? What direct relevance when the Muslim?
I'd say it does.
What do Muslims do with that information?
Yeah, what do we do with that?
So okay, wow, they do this wild stuff. What a bunch of characters, lunatics,
Because
disgusting.
you know why, bro?
Now we just dislike them more.
Even that though, you're assuming when you say we dislike them more, you're assuming that people dislike them. But when I was growing up, I fit in with this narrative.
That you like George W. Bush.
Even there's a portion of Muslim
When I
community-
grew up, bro, my mum came into this country. I was born here, and she received help from the state and whatnot, and we kind of grew up and just trying to fit in and everything. So this whole thing that okay, you get educated, you get the A grade. When you get A grade, then these are the respectable professions. Politician was amongst them. Lawyer is amongst them, doctor is amongst them. But when you realize that doctors are being tarnished by pharmaceuticals, lawyers are being tarnished by what they can and they can't say, and laws can be written and they can be wiped out, and even that's not fair depending on who's being paid off, and same with politicians.
No, but these are political processes. These things happen. They've been happening for centuries.
No, but that's the thing, bro. People don't know. The average person like me, I'm talking about myself when I was young. I keep saying, okay, what if there's another me? And that other me is going to think that the world is a utopia. That genuinely, if you're a good person, you will do well. And that's what our kids are in a bubble in school until the age of 16. We're in a bubble. At home, we're in a bubble. Our parents tell us what to watch. Well, the good parents anyway. So when you finally, leave that bubble, you're in for a rude awakening. So you come up to rubbish podcasts like Blood Brothers and, I'm not including you in this, obviously.
I didn't. I imagine you didn't.
This kind of begetti on camera would have been dealt with very differently.
Come on, bro. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah? Carry on, you'll find out what it means.
What?
Carry on doing what you're doing, you'll find out
Well, I
what
had to carry here.
Anyway, look.
That's what I'm going to do when you spit on me, bro. Like,
So Zeeshan, bro, I want to ask you. You're talking about the general public, the layman person, who thinks, you know what, if you're a good person, you're gonna grow up, you're gonna be successful.
Oh,
you live the good life,
100%, bro.
What's the link then between
Same with X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. People line up, bro, in those queues thinking, you know what, I've got what it takes, mate.
Yeah.
I've got what it takes.
Yeah.
And
This is the right
they're
platform for me.
disappointed. Simon is just there, is like, that
What
was
do you think I'm
absolutely
going to
horrible.
say to you?
That's a no from me.
Correct. Goodbye.
You're probably used to hearing that a lot in your
But
life.
again, bro, I can't see the connection between bringing to light this type of information.
Allah.
For example, the one that you just mentioned about Skull and Bones and all this stuff.
Okay, good point.
And I
good
can't
point.
see the connection between that and then the general public. You know what? You're right. This world isn't a utopia. I am good, but I'm not going to have anything my way. What's the connection? What's the connection between getting that type of news opposed to your more traditional news?
It would mean, you know what, rather than aiming for the likes of Sky, BBC and Fox, which we see all the time, you're literally aiming your whole life to get in a spot on that. You open up other avenues. You get people to look at alternative media, like 5.5 Pillars, like, Islam 21C, and all of these. Otherwise, if someone's glued on BBC thinking it's the God's truth, you're not going to look at anything else because you're going to think everything's from there. I remember when I was at school, they said, oh, there's a documentary about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming on BBC. I was like, so the hell what? And the next day, everyone would be like, oh, they got this wrong, they got that wrong.
Really surprised.
Was it the Ragged Omar one?
Yeah.
I can't remember. There were a few.
Yeah,
in
a couple.
my
I
time.
think Ragged
There were
Omar
a
was
few.
that BBC or Channel 4?
No, then it's the Tom Holland one, was it not?
Yeah, God knows, mate. But all I know was it was
some
a
madness.
mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. But that's the thing. When you realize that, you know what, you don't rely on these people for morals. You don't look up to them in that sense. There are other career options. There are other career choices. There is not just one way of thinking. There are other way of thinking. And genuinely, the mainstream actually pushes you further away from the deen. It pushes you further. If I relied on the mainstream today, maybe God knows I would have left the deen.
Would you consider 5 Pillars to be mainstream?
No.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
If by conspiracy theorist, you mean someone who believes reptiles are ruling or running the royal family, or the earth is flat, or the moon is a satellite designed to spy on us, then no, I'm not.
Or that people of the Jewish faith took a day off work on 9/11?
I mean, there is some truth to that, but again, I haven't looked into it.
But how can you say there's some truth to that?
Because there's certain evidence that have come to light, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't looked into it in the sense that, is it a primary source, is it a secondary source? Sometimes we take something based upon testimony when you've heard it from 6-7 different sources, but that's not necessarily a primary source.
I think the issue with what's understood as conspiracy theory is that even when you pick a particular subject, right, and you have studied some evidences pertaining to this theory, right, and you can substantiate it, I think what the issue with conspiracy theories, or what's widely understood, is then what? What do you do with it?
No, I wouldn't say that. I thought you were going to say this, that whenever conspiracy theory is mentioned, it's kind of the logical fallacy that's kind of employed is argument. It's, what was the thing again, mate?
Pick up your notes.
I need to appealing to extremes and appealing to absurdity. This is what they do with Alex Jones. Yeah, sorry, not Alex Jones, David Icke. Yeah, he's got brilliant points, but he's mentioned that reptilian thing, and they just hook onto that.
Yeah, it's game over.
Yeah, and that's it. You appeal to extreme. It's the same what they do with Muslims. Yeah, death of apostates, Prophet marrying Aisha. That's what they do. That's how they start off with. When we try it with Boris, like calling black people pickaninnies and watermelon smiles. Nah, mate, that's the past, mate.
Yeah.
If you mean, are you a conspiracy theorist in the regard of, or in the sense that the one narrative that's given to you by those in power, like the government, are you critical of that? Yeah. So I would say I'm a critical thinker, or I'm a conspiracy realist. But if you go back to the time of John F. Kennedy, this term conspiracy theorist was weaponized at his time. Yeah, this is in a document 1035-960. Yeah, and this term was weaponized. Why? Because there were a lot of people questioning the narrative, so they weaponized this term to disparage the people who would speak against this.
No, but
but
it's no longer a conspiracy theory once you've substantiated it with primary or even secondary evidence. The point I'm trying to make to you is that certain topics...
No, you're right.
No, but there's certain topics that we choose to pursue, but then what then? So what?
No.
So
not even that, bro. I'll disagree. Because you say it's no longer a conspiracy theory on paper, but in the minds of people, it still is. John F. Kennedy, his murder is still regarded as a conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's widely understood, that he clearly, that the official narrative is false. In fact, his brother was killed, and even that narrative was false as well. It's a joke.
So have you looked much into the Jf Kennedy assassination?
Yeah.
And are you of the thinking that obviously he was going against the grain of the American establishment, and hence he had to get taken out?
100%.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say 100%. That's
Exactly.
wrong.
So 100% is that a statement of a conspiracy theorist?
100%, you can't even say 100% in science. 100% is like when we're talking, like, I like Aki more, 100%. You know what I mean? But it's not 100%. It's 99.99999%
At that moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So there's still a 0.001 reoccurring hope for me that you may like me more than my brother.
When you put it like that, bro.
Mathematically, it's an impossibility.
Yeah.
What happened when you visited the Freemason building or something? You went there not too long ago. What did you
Nothing
find?
happened, mate.
So why'd you go there then?
I wanted to, because I was curious, because the way this whole conspiracy thing was put out, they made it seem like this whole Freemasons don't exist. It's just a few videos on the YouTube.
No, the Freemasons do exist. We know
No,
that.
but that's the thing. No, when you say we, it's you and Auntie Bushra. But when you look at the mainstream, you got some people like, soon as certain their trigger words, bro, it's like terrorist, boop, Dilly. You know what I mean? It's an example. Obviously you fit the profile.
Just for the record.
The Pirate Bay. It's suspicious.
Just for the record. I have not engaged in any kind of terrorism acts or anything, or any preparation or proliferation. Just to clarify that.
What about funding?
Huh?
What about funding? You didn't mention that, so does that mean you've been...
No.
But you didn't mention that, though.
Funding as well.
You said any type, to be fair.
I just said...
fair.
Yeah, there you go.
Because he said that, bro, I'll take...
Just keep him on check when he gets a bit, you know what I mean, yeah? So why did you go there? Why did you go to that building?
Curiosity, bro.
And what did you find anything?
Yeah, I found the building.
Okay, but was there anything in your curiosity which got put to bed? Like, okay, I thought this is the case.
I genuinely thought Freemasonry was conspiracy thing. It wasn't. It never got mentioned by prime ministers, presidents, or the hierarchy, or BBC, ITV, Fox, or whatever. It was always secondary media. I was like, flipping, now that I'm here, flipping, you got a royal family that was a Mason, you got that guy that was a Mason, like a lot of these guys are Masons, and I'm like, what does that actually mean?
Can I ask you something? This is that contacted us from Wales.
Yeah.
She's an activist. She said there's a Muslim prevent coordinator. You know what the prevent strategy is?
Yeah.
There's a Muslim prevent coordinator. He's the national coordinator of Wales.
Yeah.
Who also happens to be a member of the Freemasons.
Yeah.
Now, from my understanding, when we looked into this story, the Freemasons, from my understanding, from a very superficial understanding, if someone was to just go online and find out, I thought it was like a gentleman's...
Dilly, I thought you were a journalist, you know.
Yeah, a gentleman's
not just
network.
Look at stuff briefly, you know.
No, but I'm saying that, I said at face value, Zeeshan.
Because you're saying I looked at it at first
listen
face.
to
Why
me.
didn't you do some research,
Listen to me.
bro?
Hear me out.
Dilly, come on.
No, because the guy's a Muslim prevent coordinator who's part of the Freemasons,
Yeah.
right? Now, the Freemasonic movement, from my understanding, was just a network of men who have certain rights and principles that they all have to abide by.
That's quite naive.
So you can have a Christian Freemason, you can have an atheist Freemason, you can have a Muslim Freemason,
Yeah.
right? So there is an existence and there is some knowledge of who the Freemasons are, but it's just widely understood that it's just a case of
Widely understood by who, though? That's the
the
thing.
masses.
When you say the masses,
Okay, the masses, first and foremost, don't really know who the Freemasons are.
exactly.
Those who do know what the Freemasons are fall into two camps.
Yeah.
The camps of the madness like you,
G-Unit.
and the camps of those who are like, okay, it's just a bunch of men who dress funny every now and again, and they have some higher values and principles that they all try to abide by.
Can he be a woman and part of the Freemasons?
Not from my understanding.
No.
You have to be a man.
Not at the high level.
So he can be at some level.
Yeah.
Okay, so he can.
At the beginning, they've just recently started, but not a technical Freemason.
Have you ever thought about
Typing a female imam.
Have you ever thought
Like,
about
there is a masjid with a female imam, but we can't go around saying, yeah, there are female imams.
It's not
Technically
recognised.
speaking,
It's not really recognised.
exactly.
would
It's the same.
you ever consider joining the Freemasons?
No.
Do you consider it to be haram?
With the Freemasons, the thing is, it's very shadowy.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we do know. Yeah, for example, the Freemasonry goes up to such a degree that there's even a lodge in the Member of Parliament. This was admitted by, what's his name, Deputy Leader of Labour, Roy Hattersley.
So what if there is a lodge, a Freemason lodge in the house?
Now the
What
question
did they do?
is,
What's their function?
considering it's a democracy, yeah, and if there's a lodge in the Member of Parliament and they're representing us, we deserve to know what it is, and we want to hear you guys discussing and telling us about what it is. How comes you never mention it?
Has your research found any explanation behind this lodge?
Yeah, what's the function?
I mean, it's there, people meet, but that's the thing, it's secretive. Like, even the one that I visited, it's in Holborn. Yeah, it's like a museum. You can go there whenever you want. Yeah, you can go, you can take whoever you want, and they'll take you for a tour or whatnot. Hello, Dilly, this is the room, this is the vase, this is the Illuminati eye. They show you all of this stuff, mate.
Is that the accent that the person used?
It depends, Dilly, mate.
Okay.
Who you're going with.
It depends morning or afternoon who the tour guide is.
Exactly. Yeah, when are you planning to go?
I don't think I really want to go, to be honest.
Dilly, when are you planning to go, Dilly?
I don't know, this stuff just doesn't interest me, bro. Remember,
When are you planning to go, bro?
I'll be honest with you, I'm on a similar.
he's even more
Opinion.
critical of his conspiracy
Yeah.
theories.
But you know
I'll
what?
go for the crack.
Convince us,
I'll-
yeah, why?
I'll go for a laugh.
Convince us.
I don't need to. You know why?
If there's a tour guide who's
No,
got that
because-
accent, I will go more than once.
No,
But you know why?
convince
you
her because, bro, there's people online.
I'm not going to, and I'll tell you
Why
why.
not?
I'll tell you why. Because different people are at different stages. I was at the stage that I genuinely thought it was in the imagination of people. It was a figment of the imagination. It was false narrative. It was just said in certain circles. When I went there, I saw it for myself. I knew it does exist.
So what for yourself?
What did you see?
I-
Some blood rituals? Did you see
They don't show you
scriptures?
these rituals because by definition they're secret rituals. Even when they do conduct them in the evening.
This is the thing. This is what we
they
hear
send
a
you
lot. We
Exactly.
hear everything is secret. It's a secret.
On the
It's
one-
a secret. It's a-
and
so if it's a secret, how do we have any information? And the information that we do have, how do we know it's true?
And just to add to that, Zeeshan, and the viewers are going to
Most of the information, you're right, that's a good point he's made. Is witness testimony. That's number one. And number two, secret footage does arise.
Sure.
But you're never going to
How do you verify that secret
See, I haven't
footage?
got issue with testimony.
How do you authenticate that footage?
You're 100% right. But when there's enough evidence is coming, when there's enough footages arising that confirm the same thing, it's more likely to be true.
So
That's
it's
why
more-
it's regarded
so it's
as a
really testimony.
conspiracy theory. It will never be considered a fact.
Okay.
And because they're by definition, they are shadowy and they're secret. But the thing is, there's certain things that we can establish. For example, they would use human sacrifices and put them in the foundation of the temples. Now,
Have you seen any footage of that?
Now there's.
Have you seen any footage of
there's-
that?
You don't need footage. You need archaeological evidence, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is archaeological evidence.
Where?
It is in Scotland.
Where?
In Scotland, near the lodge. I don't know the exact.
Where the
name.
Loch Ness monster? Where?
I don't know the exact location. It's in a book by David Southwell called Secrets and Lies.
And what
fine.
they
It's-
find? They
the
find
names are there.
remnants of bones and things like that.
They found like a couple of hundred years ago.
Yeah,
they
but
did-
the Aztecs used to do stuff like this.
yeah, but the Aztecs are not in our member of parliament using their name.
No,
They
no,
don't say
but they
this
don't-
guy Roy Hatterston.
Okay,
is going to
but
the
how long
Aztec.
ago were those bones that were found in Scotland?
They were a couple of hundred years ago. Now they tend to use more animal blood. But now the thing is,
So they've become a bit more progressive, and
no, but that's the thing though.
it's a bit hot now to sacrifice humans, isn't it?
It's hot now, but the thing is, anytime a thief is pursued by someone, or by the law, what does he or she do? Yeah, first thing they do is they ditch the phone, change the SIM, they ditch their car, change the car, change their identity. It's the same. Yeah. All right. They
You're
discovered.
talking from experience.
Pardon?
Are you talking from experience?
Possibly. No comment.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would definitely say to go off grid. No phone. No credit card. Yeah.
That's something you can watch that from movies. There's nothing profound you said there. Carry on.
No, it's good to be. It's quite basic.
Yeah. It
Quite
is.
basic.
It's quite basic.
Before you just sound sick, with the snap back. Oh yeah, no credit card, no phone. Obviously, bro.
But that's the thing, though. When you say no phone, what do I mean by no phone?
No smartphone.
So you'd use the other phone then?
Oh, you use the trap phone, innit?
Nah.
No, trust me.
I thought you got that from movies, man.
No, bro, you can get PGP phones these
No,
days.
your phone can be off, it can still be tracked.
Yeah, but you can get PGP phones these days.
Look, forget your PG tips here.
No,
we're
PGP phone.
talking about phones at the moment.
Anyway,
no, we're
back,
not talking about tea bags.
anyway, back to the fact of human sacrifice and animal sacrifice.
All right, so
So what if a group of crazy men get together and do this crazy stuff? That doesn't mean they rule the world.
I didn't say they rule the world.
There's an assumption that they do rule the world.
There's an assumption.
What you're saying is that there are a group of men who are in ruling columns who are a part of
Part of the
these groups.
Freemasons. Now
Yeah.
the question is that, that's the he summarized it really well. But now the thing is,
Are you gonna ever chuck a praise here, brother? It's constant. What you? I think you will.
Don't know what to say, to be honest, bro. He sounds jealous.
that's what I'm saying, bro.
You just cause him.
He's a good brother, though, mashallah. You know, trust me. Day to day.
Average.
Day to day. I would say day to day.
Anyway, back to your madness. Do these men rule the world?
Look, when it comes to Freemasons, the point that I was saying was any thief, they ditch their car, they ditch their phone, they change their identity. It's the same that applies to people once they've been found out. The slug or the snail may have moved into a different shell. They may have abandoned the other shell, but now they moved. It's the same snail, but they moved into another shell.
But what are these anecdotal analogies? Madness. I know. I get what
You
you're saying.
get that, yeah?
But that's not evidence.
Okay, no.
nothing.
I'll give you evidence because you're talking about
You're
Freemasons.
saying the movement has moved from one type of outwardly practice,
I'm saying,
but the entire movement has moved into a different type.
if your question was that who are ruling the world, my answer would be the rich and the powerful are ruling the world.
There's no dispute around that.
There's no dispute
There's no
about
dispute around
that.
that. That's been the sunnah of human civilization for the most
Good.
part.
That's just power. What is power defined by?
Agreed.
Physical strength, wealth, lineage, done.
100%. Now we move on to number 2. Do these people want to concentrate power amongst each other, and do they want to give favors to each other?
Of course.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay, now we go into certain groups that are out in the open. Yeah, they say, what's that saying about the best place to hide is in plain sight? Yeah. Now, you heard of the Trilateral Commission, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Trilateral Commission, 335 leaders, once a year gather. You got politicians, businessmen, moguls, and
Yes,
media.
yep.
Yeah? It doesn't get reported. Okay, some people say that this is what it's been morphed into. Because they are leaders, it's not being documented, no one really knows what's going on. You might think, okay.
They might be just having a big party.
Maybe, but how do you know? Can you prove it?
No, but the point
Exactly.
is that even if 335 people, the most powerful people in the world, are having an annual gathering, it's most likely than not that they probably are talking about things to continue their hegemony.
But that's what I'm saying. If they claim to be leaders of a democratic country.
But what's this democratic bakwas?
No,
What makes you think that
it's
democracy?
bakwas to you, but it's not bakwas to the people that follow them.
Okay, but
so let's just say
but then you're supposed to raise that standard.
No, but let's just say.
He's making a general point, which is
Yeah.
look, democracy is something that people that accept, they live
Yeah.
by, and they are proud
No,
of.
but for those
So it's the people that trust that system are not having transparency.
No, then
that's what you're saying, innit?
No, but then,
Yeah, exactly.
No, but then
We're not talking about us.
We're going to be critical about it,
no,
but the people that are that pride themselves in the system,
Skeptical,
in,
we're skeptical.
in a democratic system, they're not having that
then
transparency.
the discussion then should be that this system which we or the masses understand to be democratic or a democracy isn't actually that. And the fact is that it has historically never been that. So really, shouldn't our argument to then be is to deconstruct the notion of democracy?
You're right, but
as a ruling system.
But that in itself, that discussion requires another podcast in itself.
Which you're not going to be invited to.
Which
Carry on.
Well, I'll have to ask.
No, I make the
I'll
final
have
call.
to ask the.
I make the final call.
But he's clearly leading the podcast.
No, you've made him lead the podcast. You don't want to engage with me.
But
That's
did
what's
I
happening.
did I make you lead it?
No, I know what exactly.
no one can make me do anything.
I clock with
But
you.
yeah, I love the answer.
Carry on. So go on. 335.
You don't even okay. Trilateral, yeah. You were able to DOS that about Bilderberg. Bilderberg.
What's that sound like a burger?
Well, it possibly is a burger in South Poland.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. But Bilderberg is where heads of state come together, top media moguls get together, and heads of state or whatnot, and there's a total media blackout. The whole, was it President Clinton affair with Monica Lewinsky, and they can't control the press. But here, all the leaders are getting together in one place and no one's reporting it. Go on, Mr. Journalist.
It could be closed off to the press. So not every gathering is open to the press.
Okay, and what does the press normally do? When something's... Yeah.
We'll try to access it.
Okay, and when's the last time that happened?
Regarding the Trilateral, never.
No, Bilderberg.
I don't know what the Bilderberg is. I've never
So
heard
I told
of it.
you, well,
No.
you think it's a Polish, South Polish
Okay,
burger, isn't
but
it?
I've never heard of it being reported.
That's what I'm saying. The journalists nowadays aren't doing their job properly because Bilderberg is more well known than the Trilateral. In fact, you've got all these hippies with their long hair.
Yeah.
They're outside normally with their placards, but again, even on social media, it doesn't get that much.
So what?
traction.
You joined those hippies?
You know what? I actually would.
You would?
I actually would.
I think you took that demographic.
I actually would out of principle.
I think you'd fit a Muslim quota of those hippies.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
So on the subject
I
of
still wouldn't mind.
on the subject of Bilderberg, how do we
Yeah.
know the information that we do have about it is true? If you're saying it's complete media blackout, there's no access for journalists, and it's completely blocked off.
Everything that I've said is public.
the details that we do have. How do you know that it's factual?
What details? Like what question? One thing that I've said that. How do we know?
No, just the information that you've given so far.
You spoke about snails and shells, bro.
I was talking about
Media moguls, heads of state,
There you go, that's a fact.
billionaires, all these people that come together.
media blackout. Fact.
Khair, okay.
It does happen once a year. Fact. But I didn't mention anything about what could be discussed there. But let's face it, when powerful people are behind closed doors, when they claim to be representing their people and claim to be transparent, and here the exact opposite is happening, what's going on?
But are they
And you cannot say that they are representing the poor and the middle class because they come from a really rich background. So why is it that we don't have our input? We don't get a say in what gets discussed there if it's ruling us?
Okay, so the higher echelons of power, have very shadowy and murky, and very censored meetings. Once a year.
Disagreed. Because it's not just the higher echelons. Even the mafia. The mafia, when it moved from the Vatican,
Yeah, it was a secret society. But look,
it was a secret society
Yeah,
with
the mafia is
secret symbols, secret handshakes.
secret rituals.
In fact, now every year they get together as well in a commission of 35.
Well, that's everyone
heads
knows
of,
that.
heads of families.
For those who follow the La Cosa Nostra history, we know this happens.
G-Unit.
West Side.
No, but that unit doesn't follow La Cosa Nostra. Don't mix the two.
Don't mess with
Don't mix the two.
Don't.
About Gambinos.
Anyway, so back to it. The mafia links up. They need to link up. They're running a criminal organization. Of course, they're going to link up.
But then, what's the link with the CIA? Why do they join?
No, but the CIA joins the mafia.
Well, why do they sometimes, interact with them?
The CIA interacts with drug cartels. The CIA interacts with people who are going to carry out military coups. They interact with mafia. It's the
Which
way they
mainstream
operate.
media has reported that?
It's kind of known.
Which mainstream media has reported that?
What that
That's
based
what you just said.
what the CIA
What you just said.
Listen to me, is that the CIA bought cocaine from South America so it can fund the guerrilla warfare against the leftists in Central America. It's well known.
In Nicaragua, yeah.
Yeah.
Sandinistas.
Yeah.
1985.
Yeah, sick.
Iran Contra scandal.
Yes,
Iran Contra scandal.
so it's known. It's not a secret.
No, but that's the thing. That's one of my content. That's from my sheet.
But I didn't get it from your sheet.
But that's what I'm saying.
I got it from what thingy was it?
Narcos.
No, I got it from Narcos.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, bro.
Yeah.
I think we need to get rid of this.
Actually, no, it wasn't from Narcos. Was it from
Get rid
Narcos?
of this.
Nah, it wasn't from Narcos.
Journalism.
No, it's from Snowflake. Or
Smash.
Snow from BBC.
That-
So the CIA engages with criminal entities and criminal organizations, from drug cartels to the mafia, and what they need to for their higher objective of advancing American interests in the region or in the world.
No, but you're supposed to be playing devil's advocate in the sense that you're supposed to be saying no, but they probably get together to help us or to do this, to do that. You're now singing from my hymn sheet, which is I believe this as well, that they get together and because
But so
power
what?
corrupts-
Zishan, I'm saying so what?
Bro, it's not so what. It's when they get together, yeah, and they are making decisions that we don't know, and every other month there's an impending war on China. There's an impending war on Russia. There's an impending war.
Which will never happen in reality.
Well, Iran will happen.
Iran will, but Iran is not Russia and China. Let's be frank about that.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
agreed.
Like if there's a war between
But
America.
then again, there is a war happening with China, but it's a different war.
It's
a
an economic war.
Yeah, economy and technology.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. All of these things are happening. These things are being discussed.
But let's make it absolutely clear
But
that
Zishan, someone could argue, yeah, that you want to expose or bring to people's attention the information that the media is not able to access. Some of the examples that you gave, yeah?
They are able to access it, but they
It's not being-
decide not
okay,
to.
they decide not to for
Bring it to
reasons.
the forefront.
Yeah, for reasons that we've kind of touched upon, right?
Yeah.
What about if someone turns and says there's enough information that's out there, accessible for the public that already gives us that information, that the rich, the elite, the people that are privileged, they rule the world, they make decisions without consulting us, blah blah.
including criminal organizations.
Like
we know this. Tell us
it's,
something new.
it's
mate.
not as if people are having to guess that. I think it's widely accepted and known that the people that rule the world are not the masses, the public, the
I don't-
layman, the
I
average
I
person.
disagree with that.
No,
Oh,
I disagree with that.
But just
You
to
know
add,
why?
sorry, so just add to that, like for example, the Italian, the Sicilian mafia's role in electing certain mayors in New York for the best part of 25 years. Again, we know the link between criminal underworld organizations and organized crime, politicians, the rich, the wealthy, and the corrupt. Tell us something new, bro.
You're talking about criminals and you're comparing them with politicians and leaders
Well,
that
politicians
we
are-
look up to. We don't tell our kids, when you grow up, brother. Oh, I don't know why you're calling your son brother. Let me take two. When you grow up, son, you're going to be like this guy and that guy. But you never say you're going to be like, Dom Perignon, from...
Dom Perignon's a bottle of drink. It's not actually a mafia.
I was just testing you because I thought this guy was...
No. It's on the G Unit songs, isn't it?
Dom Perignon.
It's on the G.
I was thinking, Dom Perignon.
Dom Perignon.
Is
Someone some bubbly? There's some bubbly up in here.
Anyway, back to Dom.
Don Corleone.
Yeah, Don Corleone,
Don
yeah.
Corleone. Bro, no one's gonna tell their kids. But the thing is, when you tell your kids you're gonna grow up, be like this politician, there's hope for you yet. Look, we got a Muslim mayor, we got this, we got that. You're painting a false sense of security, and you're not giving a realistic image or something realistic for the child to look up to. But no one says this about gangsters. They're rejects anyway. That's the thing, so you can't compare the two. Here on the one side, we've got politicians. So when Don Perleon or Carlos or whatever, when he does something wrong, alright, cool. But when George W. Bush, who's now set to, well, in the past was set to be elected as the president of the most powerful country on the planet, and he was doing rituals in which he was eating from the cutlery of Hitler and part of skull and bones, and that's clear. It's a Yale group, whatever you want to call it. That's standard. Like, why is this okay? Tony Blair's going to Bilderberg, but then he's looking at us in the face and saying, you know what, we're transparent, we're this, we're that. Why are you going to secret meetings then? Why are you telling us that, okay, we're going to release this, we're going to release that? It's just disparity, it's hypocritical, and you know what? If you are claiming to be a democracy, if you're claiming to be transparent, you need to be fully transparent. You can't be half and half. You can't be doing secret meetings and coming and saying, okay, you can now elect this leader when it's already been decided. Yeah, because they go to Bohemian Grove that was exposed, and that came out. It was the playground for the rich, where they would hang out and do some really funky stuff.
Like what would they do?
You just seem to be hating on guys that have some funky habits.
You know what?
I want to know what this Bohemian Rhapsody. What do they do?
Bohemian. I mean, it's not clearly known.
It's secretive, yeah.
It's secretive, but Alex Jones was the one that did release footage exposing it.
How did he get that footage?
He
gets a lot of footage.
How did he authenticate that footage?
That's what I'm saying. I haven't looked.
No, that's what
Basically, you get stuck there, innit?
No, that's what we're saying.
You get stuck there, innit?
You were on fire for about 3 minutes.
For about 3 minutes, you had your spiel. When it comes to authenticating the evidence, guy gets stuck.
When it comes to authenticating,
Secretive, innit?
I told you right at the start. I said a conspiracy theory relies on the people you're trying to refute.
Sure.
Yeah, and because of that, it will be called a conspiracy theory, and by definition, it can't be a conspiracy fact.
I've not even called it. I just said that you seem to get good spiels. You should have good 2-3 minute runs when it comes to me saying or Aki asking you, how do you authenticate the footage? How do you authenticate evidence?
How do you authenticate science? You can't. Science, by definition, according to Oxford.
Why are you taking up science?
No, you can
I'll
retest.
give you an example of stuff that we agree with. Okay. Yeah, we agree with science, and the thing is, you cannot authenticate it 100%.
No, you can't. You can retest it.
You can
Completely
retest
different.
it. Not necessarily. Big Bang you can't retest.
No, I'm not talking. Okay.
Evolution you can't retest.
Science is such a huge spectrum of things that could be tested and not tested. So you can't say you can't retest science because there's massive aspects of science that you can.
Aspects of it.
Yeah, but there's.
It's the same with this.
Okay, no.
You can check aspects of it.
Aspects of what? Some footage that Alex Jones has released.
No, we're talking about specific activities and we're talking about specific groups that were allegations that they do X, Y, and Z.
If a footage has been
you can't compare that to the boiling point of this or.
You can. I'll tell you why. You just released. There's a footage. Yeah. How do you check that footage?
Okay.
You check it for being edited.
Yes.
You check it. Does it follow the map? Like that person is claiming to follow this route. Let's go. Is this route there? Did they come across these telltale signs?
No, but also in the case of what you cited with regards to George W. Bush engaged in these kind of mad rituals, you'd have to then solidly identify that is that actually George W. Bush? Was it?
They've admitted to being skull and bones. It's clear.
Okay.
Not so much the skull and bones thing, not so much the Bush thing, right? But like the example that you gave of this, what is it, Bohemian what?
Bohemian Grove, yeah.
Bohemian Grove, right?
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds next level. But these the activities that they get up to,
Lyndon
right?
Jones stuff.
No, okay.
What kind of things do they do?
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Wacky.
I'll give you an example. There's certain documentaries that have come out about celebrities, yeah? High echelons of celebrities, when they get together...
Like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I guess so. When they get together, the sort of parties that they have. Now, the people that have exposed that are the people that have actually organized those parties. And they say, look, these people get along with some mad... We have to organize some mad stuff. Certain things I can't see on the podcast, but it's really...
No, let's hear it.
It's like naked midgets running around. It's like cocaine off the backs of God knows what.
They've just got bookie activities, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Bookie activities, but when you now transfer that to people with power, like in investment banking, what they do is certain, like one brother was telling me that, in fact, this is generally accepted amongst these sorts of crowds. When you go to when you work for them, what now happens is they'll say, okay, the next meeting is at the strip club. Okay, so you go at the strip club, you're married, and they'll bring someone, maybe a Filipino kid, so they bring the Filipino kid. There is a bit of a similarity,
You're saying that you look like a Filipino kid.
Are you belittling child abuse?
No, I'm
You are
belittling you.
No, you're belittling child abuse.
Actually, I'm belittling Filipino kids by saying you look like them.
Carry on.
I think they look...
Carry on.
So...
how do you think they look?
Huh?
How do you think they look?
I think they look as Filipino kids should look. Better than
Carry on.
Mr. Dilly here. So... What they do is when something's happening, something dodgy is happening, they'll take a little video. When something goes wrong, they'll hold that over your head. They'll hold it over your head. There's certain academics like John Perkins, even they've written books where they said, and in journalism they say even when it comes to Brazil, where his deputy was saying, look, they've got certain things over this leader that we can't. And in fact, they do this with certain countries. Do this with veto power. Look, we did this for you. We've given you aid. Therefore, now we need you to vote for this, this, and this.
We're not disputing that there is a lot of secretive activities.
I'm drawing parallels here. I'm drawing parallels with this.
I don't.
All I'm saying
but
is,
your parallel.
no. You've got politics here, and you've got investment banking. All I'm saying is, it would be ludicrous for you to say that this does not occur with these people behind closed doors, and certain things don't get coerced, and certain mad things can happen that affects our lives.
You know, essentially, I don't think we disagree with Sean.
No, but there's a point I need to make.
The point he's trying to make. Correct me if I'm wrong,
He just seems a bit unhappy that he's not invited to these parties. That's what it actually sounds like. You sound like you're proper vexed that you're not getting invited into these parties. Because the things because the things that you've essentially said, because the thing
they are mad, aren't they?
They're mad.
Mad bazooka and midgets across the room.
Psycho.
But listen, the point here is you're essentially saying don't trust those in power. Fine, we agree.
Yep.
Those who are the ultra rich, the ultra power from all different sectors and industries get together and they preserve their hegemony, their power, and it's concentrated within small groups. They do each other favors. We agree with that.
Sure.
Yeah, you even mentioned this thing about nations vetoing. That's the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. We know that. The point I'm trying to make is we're in agreement, but the parallel I'm going through is stuff that we already know. Stuff that we can already observe with our eyes and from our intellect, whereas you're too busy banging on about rituals and parties. But we agree with you that yes, we cannot trust those who essentially appear to be running the world, the ultra uber crazy dons of capitalism.
What's rituals? Who are rituals normally linked to? Generally speaking,
darker spirits, darker entities, shaitan, and all those kind of things. It can be.
What are they normally linked to? Rituals.
I don't understand what you mean by the normally to
Rituals like religion, innit? Religion and secret societies.
Religion.
Religion.
Religion is more well known than the occult.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, religion is out in the open. People can see your rituals. You can pray wherever. Yeah. Why do you need to do rituals in secret? Why do they need to be done with hoods? Why are there skulls involved?
Because they're rich and they can do it, and they may want to do it.
But that's the thing. But when you look at people, now we're getting into some interesting stuff because now you want to get into the occult. Because now the problem is, when you look into the occult, there's certain names that come to the forefront.
Can you tell us what the occult is for our listeners who don't know?
The occult is the use of dark magic, irrespective of what religion or whatever. Yeah. Now the occult, it's got certain origins. So there's some origins that come from Judaism. There's some origins that can even come from Islam or whatever.
Does it not date back to the Kabbalah or Babylon?
Pre-Kabbalah. Kabbalah's got certain elements of
Babylon.
Possibly, we don't really know.
I thought you would know.
There's some that actually link it to the Egyptians.
Yes.
Yeah. But God knows. I mean, considering
ancient,
where,
yeah.
Okay, fine. So we even know that.
Now the thing is, with occult, you got people like Jf Parsons. Now Jf Parsons is regarded as a father of rocket fuel. He would literally do rituals before his scientific endeavors. Now this was out in the open. Like, why are you doing rituals? Yeah, why are certain satellites at certain degrees? Yeah, why are certain numbers constantly being pushed forward? Yeah, when you do have a field called numerology, yeah, you do have these things, and these things do exist. And when you constantly seeing a pattern, happens once, happens twice, you're like, all right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're like, all right, this is not right. Hitler was an occultist. Okay, you had the guy who had the apple on his head. Yeah, Isaac Newton. Yeah, it's standard
the
stuff.
apple didn't hit his head. He just saw the apple fall.
He did, yeah. But he was an alchemist. And Cambridge restricted and they withheld his books being published on alchemy because they didn't want to discredit him. Francis Crick, one of the two that discovered the helix, he was an LSD. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of this stuff is being censored. It's not stuff that's taken away. It's just... Well, it's not stuff...
They just sound a little bit wild. One guy likes to get...
Drugs?
He likes to get a bit high.
Satanism?
He likes to get a bit high.
Like
rituals?
He believes in numerology. Doesn't necessarily mean that it means anything. It means something to them.
No, he does.
No, but it means something to them.
But it worked... Well, according to him, it worked for him. And even when our government starts taking interest in that, that's when it gets a bit messy. Because now you're involving us. Aleister Crowley, who was... called by, I think, one of the British newspapers the worst man alive. Yeah, some of the rituals that he was doing was absolutely disgusting.
Like?
Yeah.
All this goes back to rituals with you, isn't it?
That's because that's what a lot of these people go back to. It goes back to the old age phenomena of rituals. That's what religions go back to. That's what these politicians go back to.
So you're now saying
it's the power of.
I want to know
practicing.
rituals he did. Like you say some disgusting. I liked it. I want to hear.
Can we hear what some of these rituals are?
I mean, it's rituals like taking the period blood of a sibling.
Sounds like sihr.
But that's what I'm saying. Certain people won't know, or smearing feces
Sounds like
over
sihr.
your body or
Sounds
whatever.
like black magic.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But when the Guardian releases an article saying that the MI5 utilized Aleister Crowley in their covert activities, I'm sorry, but you guys might be okay. You might be saying, "Oh, that's normal." Someone that smears blood on himself and feces, and our government, who claims to be looking out for us, is taking this guy's advice. I'm sorry, but that's where I draw the line.
His advice. His advice in what aspect of the work of the MI5?
Pardon?
When did the MI5 use Aleister Crowley for what aspect?
MI5 or MI6 used him. I think this was against the communists.
Okay.
They blurred quite a few.
Why
lines.
wouldn't they use someone like Aleister Crowley against their biggest ideological enemy, the communists?
Because
Why
the
wouldn't they?
occult is not taught to. It's not mentioned in mainstream. It's not taught to the kids. We don't discuss it in our homes. It's stuff that, in fact, the Vatican. There was an Inquisition, and it's called the Papal's Inquisition's Index of Forbidden Books.
Yeah.
They've got entire section of occult books. Yeah, Satanist books that are just secretive, locked away. You can argue, oh, but what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? But
No, I would argue that maybe the Vatican and the Roman Catholic establishment needs to have those books on Satanism for their types of exorcism and for their research.
Sure.
No, they don't use them.
Huh?
They don't use them.
How do you know
use
that?
them?
Because they've claimed not to use them. Why would the leaders in Christianity use books on occult?
Okay,
Listen to what you just said.
no,
The Vatican uses books on occult against exorcism.
for research. For research.
Nah.
Because dark arts is a type of sihr. For
research. Okay, that's
For
a
research.
The scholars of
Agreed,
Islam.
agreed.
Okay,
But why is it restricted to mainstream?
Okay,
then?
for even an opposing argument could be
Yeah.
that okay, we use it for research, or we want to safeguard humanity from this literature. These things can be argued.
And have they though?
I don't know. Have they?
No.
Go on then.
I'm telling you no, because it's happening. Why is MI5 asking Aleister Crowley? Why don't they just go to the Vatican?
I don't know, bro.
It was a long time ago, though.
So what if it was a long time ago? It's still everything that happened post World War II was an absolute mess. In fact, you guys are talking like occult and stuff like this. There's stuff that are even more mainstream, like post World War II. Yeah, when the whole world, you had the Nuremberg trials,
yeah.
all this nonsense going on, yeah. But on the one hand, you had Project MK Ultra, where they're bringing home Nazi scientists and getting them to work on mind control, electrocuting LSD members of the public, unsuspecting. You got operations like Operation Midnight Climax. These are all, you can literally Google them, you can buy books on them. It's on CIA declassified documents, yeah? But the thing is, when you're now coming to me and telling me, no, this sort of stuff doesn't exist, it's all about the physical and the material, no, that's what we're learning about in school. But why are your secret, organizations like CIA, why are they looking into this stuff? Why is it that you're utilizing members of the public whenever you want? That was Project MK Ultra. They've admitted this. Declassified documents. Operation Paperclip, where they brought these rocket scientists from Nazi Germany. Rocket scientists like Werner von Braun. Yeah, he worked with them. There's a big picture of all of them standing, smiling.
Why would it?
But the US, bro, it was at that time it was illegal to utilize the Nazis. But Operation Paperclip utilized their knowledge, and in fact, that was the precursor of.
What do they do? Why is it called Operation Paperclip? What do they do with the paperclip?
I don't know. They call it whatever
Is
they
it
want.
secret?
Deshaun.
Well, no, it was a secret at that time because of an operation. But the thing is, the US has this rule that after like every 20, 30 years, they supposedly declassify certain documents. They have an act. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. You can even request certain documents to be declassified, and they can. Yeah. So now the thing is, what you might be thinking, where are you going with this?
No, I know.
What I'm trying to say is there are certain things that are not non-conspiratorial. They show that the people in power don't necessarily have our best interests in favor, and that's what,
many will be watching this podcast, yeah, and they'll be thinking, tell us something new. Zeeshan.
No, they're not, bro.
They are, because
they don't know this stuff, bro.
no, but-
I'm guaranteeing you,
Okay.
75% of the
that's
people,
fine.
bro.
No, tell me
They
that-
don't know
no,
Operation Paperclip.
no,
They don't know Project MK
Not
Ultra.
about the details of these certain secret agendas and projects. I'm talking about the fact that the rich and powerful
They do.
seek to
I know,
advance,
Dilly. I
seek
know,
to
I know.
advance their own power and control to control the masses.
But when you,
tell us
but
something
Dilly,
new, bro.
when you speak to people, bro,
Yeah.
you cannot say this in everyday conversation without dropping certain big names, bro.
Okay.
Because people are gonna think you're a kook.
Yeah.
If I say this to John and Jim,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, bro, come on, what are you saying? Like, are you speaking against the government? Like, are you serious? You're saying that our government would put its own citizens in danger? Bro, I'd have to bust out Project MK Ultra, Operation Paperclip, bro, even Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, in the 1970s, 1980s,
Yeah.
where they actually manipulated and they would manipulate news stories just to forward and just to look or make their war in Vietnam more favorable.
Yeah.
They did this, bro.
Okay, that's
but when I say this now, yeah, people are gonna be like, nah, come on, bro. Like, we have, like, people like you, oh, we're journalists, we're very independent, we're doing our job. No, you can't say that.
No.
But when I bust out
No.
Operation
Why?
Mockingbird,
Why? Just
then I'm like,
no, it's not that.
chill you, man.
What's
Don't
that?
carry on.
No. The point here is, Sean, what I find is
I-
that certain the conclusions that you've drawn from your research is generic information or generic trends that humans generally know, right? So, for example,
we don't.
when-
Disagreed.
You
1
cannot
billion
substantiate.
%.
You cannot substantiate that from a statistical point of view. And I'll tell you why that is. If you go and speak to the average Joe, even the average white person in the United Kingdom,
Yeah.
right, go somewhere up north, or let's even take Nick Griffin, the
They'd
leader
be
of the BNP.
skeptical, but they won't have proof to back up their statement.
Because
I believe that. Of course
yeah,
they would.
but because
And that's why you need these details for if you were to speak to somebody credible, you can say this stuff categorically
Okay.
with proof.
okay, fine. The thing is here, we seem to be on the same page in the sense that you seem to be saying that we need to question and hold to account at the very least, not entirely trust those in power. Yes?
100 and million, billion, trillion, septillion %.
Okay, fine. So we're on the same page. But moving on from that, I don't understand that why we just can't base that on wealth disparity, illegal wars, distortion of policies, secrecy, whereas you
You
simply
sound like a conspiracy.
No, but these are things that these things are factual, bro. This is the fact that the Iraq war was based on a false confession and false evidence. The fact that the media constantly will distort news and how it distorts facts. These are things which
Okay,
can be
give me
proven.
for the second one.
Aggressive narrative against Muslims in the UK, West at large.
The fact
Okay,
that
but give me like an operation where this is taking
there
place.
is
Give me a name that some people can Google and check.
there's no such operation. It's just
Because somebody from another religion might be watching, be like, "That's Muslims. I don't really care
Hit,
about."
hit him the numbers from the studies of headlines.
okay. So Professor
That's
Paul.
Muslims.
No,
But
Professor-
what I'm saying is, look.
No,
bro, bro. Okay,
It's
bro.
Muslims now. It was Irish and it was the communists for the best part of 40, 50 years. The point is,
Yeah.
it's a well-established policy of those who disseminate propaganda
Bro,
to
here's where
distort
we're
information.
Different. Here's where we're different. You're giving me stuff here that's fairly recent, but and that can be argued from both sides. That can be argued from both sides. Wait, give me a minute,
give me 30 seconds.
Alright.
I'm telling you, the poets at the time of Prophet Sallam, who were seen as the propagandists and of their time, they distorted poetry to defame Islam and Muslims. If we go back to the time of Musa alayhi salam, the magicians who were at the court of Fir'aun did certain things. So I'm saying that these things existed.
Bro, that's fair enough. I'll accept that.
Okay.
But the average Joe, bro, if you present this evidence, it's not gonna work for them. I'm gonna be real.
So you think the average Joe can accept all those long projects and those long words?
The average Joe,
MK Ultra and this
I'll
and
tell you
that.
why
and-
they
and
accept them.
yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because they come from CIA's declassified files. In other words, from the donkey's own mouth. When the person themselves has admitted to something, bro, there's nothing else left.
So just to go back to that, so what if the CIA and the world superpowers do these things? Is it not kind of expected that they do with these
No,
things?
it's not,
It's our
bro.
job to hold them to account. It's our
Nah.
job. It's our job to report on
I'm
these things.
telling you,
It's
I'm
our
telling
job
you,
to.
I'm telling you, the people that
do
I
it.
speak to, bro. When I do speak to them and I don't present and I give them your arguments, oh, isn't that so? It's very abstract. It's very wishy-washy.
No, it's not.
It's unconfirmed. It's skeptical.
No,
it's a way of thinking.
It's,
It could be like
it's
you're
established
extreme.
trends. It's established
It's
trends.
not, bro, because
It's established trends, bro.
Look, mashallah, you're well educated. You're in a good profession. You're exposed to this stuff. I'm exposed to the opposite side to you, which is I'm exposed to a generation that we go home. Netflix is filled with programs, bro. Yeah, people are constantly willingly being indoctrinated by a make-believe kind of figment of imagination that's been put there, and they're literally lulled. Then you play games, then you go to work, you're unhappy with work, that's it. They don't have time to look at this stuff. When they say this, number one, they're ashamed of saying this because they don't have proof. When they do, it's going against the grain. Bro, you're used to it. You're from 5 pillars. There are other people who are not used to this sort of stuff. They don't know this stuff. So when they do, there's like 5, 6 people, they look at them. Bro, are you this? Are you that? Alright, what's the proof? And if they're like, oh, come on, we know this, we know that. But from the indoctrination they receive from mainstream media, from their TV shows, from their games like Call of Duty, like, bro, you're expecting too much from the new generation. They don't have access to this sort of stuff. Their textbooks are being heavily censored. In fact, YouTube now is going through heavy censorship. In fact, because of the far right, they've censored loads of their videos. There's censoring videos on vaccines, the anti-vaccines. They're censoring videos on conspiracies to do with 9/11, and this is slowly increasing. Yeah, everything that we've held to be true is now being challenged because we're in a false sense of security, or we can't, in a cogent academic way, present what we're saying without sounding very abstract.
So what's the solution?
My solution is, number one, bro, understand and be able to communicate your points in a cogent, academic, and present strong facts that no Tom, Dick, and Harry will be able to refute. Like what you're saying, mashallah, it's good for like a Muslim. You give the story of Musa alayhi salam, you give this story, that story.
Well, it is a Muslim podcast.
It is a Muslim podcast.
If I was to engage with a non-Muslim, rest assured that the argument would be articulated and substantiated.
That's what I'm saying. I have hope, bro. With whatever content, I try to cater for both Muslim and non-Muslim, because there are non-Muslims that watch it. So, for example, Operation Northwood, bro. Operation that's something that's very relevant to us. If we say, look, the government has been known to stage attacks, or even present ideas where attacks can be staged to blame somebody else. Bro, if I was to say that in a gathering of uncles, I'd be ripped to shreds.
I don't think you would.
No.
I would be.
I think you find that our people are very open.
That seems to be quite a common
There's
thing that people believe.
There's 2 types of uncles. You got one uncle that's
Asian Muslims love the idea of things have been staged.
Some.
They love it, bro.
Many.
Some uncles, bro. There's some uncles that you sit with. You speak against the government. They're like, "How dare you speak against the government? You need to be grateful. You need to be. You're giving this country."
Yeah. Okay, they exist. Yeah, they exist.
No, that's one problem.
Yeah, they exist. Okay, but there's another.
Not to them.
There's another constituency who love what you
We're
just
not
said.
interested in them, bro. We're interested in the people.
But I'm saying that's a big constituency as well.
I don't deny that.
Who believe everything is staged. Literally everything is staged.
I know.
Everything is well designed.
That's
what I'm
friends
saying.
are like that.
That's why, bro, for everything, I like to have like an analogy or something similar that's happened in the past that's undeniable. For example, Operation Northwood, which was they wanted to disparage or get rid of Fidel Castro of Cuba. So they suggested to the current head of state, they said, yo, you know what, why don't we stage something and just blame it on Fidel Castro? That was put forward by the army. Although it was rejected, the fact that it was put through by the people that are supposedly looking over us is mad. Because if something has been suggested in the past, what's to say 30 years down the line when things have become worse, it cannot happen again? I've given the example of Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, where media has been. In fact, David Southwell says that there's a CIA operative that's in a lot of media organizations.
I don't know about that for a moment. In the same way that
you don't deny that, yeah?
No, of course not.
Okay. Now, even for example, the history that we know, you're saying, okay, what's the proof for this? What's the proof? When you look at books, who's to say that a lot of our evidence has not been burnt? For example, if you look at Operation Legacy, after the British left India, there was literally a column of smoke of them burning documents that we don't have to.
Bro, when I was on the Declassified, we spoke about this. We spoke about the fact that Britain, just as recent as a couple of years ago, burnt thousands of dossier and documents which proves colonial crimes. We spoke about this, remember?
In fact, you know what? They haven't necessarily burnt them. In Guardian 2013, they released an article saying that it's come to light that there's at least the Home Office, the UK Foreign Office holds 1 million files, and this is currently in Buckinghamshire. Historians are saying you need to release these files
of colonial crimes.
It could be of anything, but
we're talking about 2 separate things.
No, of colonial crimes as well, because that's That was what the Kukui tribe asked for certain documents that obviously they were given reparations, but they are documents that historians are saying that we need to know what's in these documents. We might have to rewrite history. In fact, that's what Noam Chomsky says, and Howard Zinn. That is the history that we have today. The victors write the history.
Of course, that's
No, but
given.
that's the thing, though. You're saying, of course, but me, like someone like me, that's born in.
Are you dealing with aliens? Or
I'm dealing with real people, bro. When you grow up, bro, I'm used to reading history books. I'm used to going W.H. Smith, getting my history books from there.
Not Waterstones.
No, there's too posh for me.
Okay.
We're the South London, isn't it?
Okay.
W.H. Smith.
Okay.
And you probably get stabbed before you've even reached it, so you have to hold.
So, fam, you got a book. Are you mad? And you get shanked.
That's what I'm saying.
Nah, you live in a nice part of South London.
Alhamdulillah.
Don't try.
It's all right. Actually, I don't. But alhamdulillah, it's not as bad as I'm making out to be. It's worse.
Yeah.
So, so in that sense, bro, that's what people are growing up with today. Yeah, we have a skewed view of history. We have a skewed view of politics. We have a skewed view of what's right and wrong and who's actually in favor of us. Like, people genuinely believe that we have a solution for Brexit. Boris is good for us, and Jeremy Corbyn is bad for us. If whatever you said was true, then why would people be saying all of this? It's because indoctrination works. It's because shady business is happening. It's because you should question the narrative. You don't necessarily have to believe it, and you're right. You should question the validity, and you shouldn't take things blind. Question footage and this and that, but never be skeptical to the sense of denying it completely. If somebody says, I don't believe in a conspiracy theory at all, bro, you're messed up, because you believe everything that the government is telling you is correct based upon historical inaccuracies, based upon historical blunders. In fact, bro, you talked about the Iran-Contra scandal, even Operation Timber Sycamore, yeah, where they were funding, arming, training Syria rebels to fight Bashar al-Assad.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard this debate, yeah, or people saying this, but when you give names of stuff that have been established, it's known, people can go, it's tangible, they can research, damn, this does exist, yeah, it's on such and such, I can get a book on it, it's on Wikipedia, it's on this or that. You're giving someone something a bit more tangible.
Look, bro, I rate you for
Jazakallah, bro.
I rate you for doing a Wikipedia check and a wiki check and getting all these names on your piece of paper.
It's not a Wikipedia check.
Yeah.
It's a CIA declassified document.
Okay, so
get it right.
I've had a quick glance at your notes. A lot of that stuff is wiki stuff, yeah.
Bro, check it. Does it say Wikipedia?
You won't have a clue. You don't know his.
Bro, don't.
He don't know the holes between the holes, mate. Anyway, listen.
Does it say Wikipedia anywhere?
You don't have to. You could have copy and pasted and
saying.
change the font and text on Word doc. Anyway, look, the point is.
Where's your proof for that?
I don't have to. I'm just an assumption.
I told you, it's all CIA declassified documents.
Okay, look, the point. No, I'm talking
all
about,
established.
No, the operations that you've mentioned can be
Yeah.
easily checked online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CIA declassified.
Okay, that's fine.
Declassified by the CIA.
Okay.
CIA declassified.
The point I'm trying to make, bro, yeah, is this.
You know my podcast called Declassified as well.
I know. I'm gonna cut any plugs of you. I think you don't deserve any plugs for on this podcast. But anyway, carry on.
Carry on. Okay.
No, no, carry on, stop.
Declassified podcast. Watch it now on YouTube.
Don't you feel that he's just giving information about things that generally people already know, bro?
Do you believe-
wow, the British government thinking the rebels,
Bro.
the Syrian rebels.
Bro, do you believe in the day and age of, like, there's a new Lord of the Rings coming out, yeah, and they've got a budget of $1 billion. Pogba a couple of years ago, he got sold for like 80 million. Yeah. Where you have this whole Colosseum circus sort of thing, which is distracting people, yeah. Do you believe, speaking to the people on a daily basis, that people are well equipped with this sort of knowledge? That's what you're saying.
No. I
That's
don't believe.
precisely my point.
I don't believe they are. But my argument would be, what does this information arm the people with?
It arms the people.
Well, how does that help them now move forward
Step one.
to now exist in the UK or wherever they are in the world and make them better prepared for the deception and for the ill intentions
Habibi, that's subjective.
that the leaders
I'll
have?
tell you why. The first thing is, before you can...
And that's what I said before, like, it just makes them dislike them more.
Even for you to decide to do something, you need to know what the problem is. Like they say, the devil's greatest deception is to convince people that he doesn't exist.
That's biblical.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's quite interesting.
That's
and
fine.
it's
I wasn't saying it
relevant.
wasn't fine. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's biblical.
But the interesting bit here is you're not going to fight a system, or you're not going to challenge a system, speak out against the system, write against the system, or whatever, if you don't know what the problems are, if you don't feel confident about the arguments you're making. Once you are confident, that's step number one. I'm just providing step number one, bro. Like you said, I'm a guy, I'm a very beautiful man with a snapback.
I didn't say that.
You didn't?
I didn't.
That's how my brain interpreted it.
Okay, of course you would.
So in that sense, bro, it's first about being aware. Second thing is, now it depends on you. You might be an extrovert. You might be able to speak well with people. You might be going to media, yeah, or you might be a good writer, or you might be a good, I don't know, something else.
What are your skills, basically? Yeah.
Exactly, and you will do it according to your skills. Not everyone's going to be a Malcolm X. Not everyone's going to be a writer like an Iqbal or whatever. Everyone's got their own strengths. Everyone's got their own mission in life.
What are
but
your
the
strengths?
thing is, well, my strengths.
Yeah, because I can't seem to sense any.
Well, I know that's a dig.
Besides just.
But you know what? When you're as awesome as me, bro, just the list is just overpowering.
Of course,
So,
as
you
this
know
those
what I mean?
those wiki research that you did, yeah.
Bro, you said yourself it was conjecture, or you have no proof to back up what you're saying. It's pretty journalistic, isn't it?
Carry on.
It's pretty five pillars.
Carry on.
So, yeah, in that sense, bro. in that, you're
danger.
First thing is alternative media. Yeah, don't look at the mainstream media. Understand that there's a lot of fishy stuff going on, and don't forget, make fires, even if it means buy a £4 book from Sainsbury's. Don't go W. Smith, they're rip off.
Okay.
Yeah. So get a book, make notes. If you hear something in the news, write down the reference. Talk with reference. Don't just talk willy nilly. That rhymes with dilly, isn't it? Willy nilly and dilly. That's 3 in one go.
Smashed a hat trick.
Sick. You smashed to put 3 words that rhyme. Okay.
G unit.
Okay, but listen.
A lot of things happen, bro. Like now, before 9/11 happened, that same year, Donald Rumsfeld came in front of the public and said, "We cannot account for $2.3 trillion. That's mad. Why is that forgotten? Why is that forgotten? I mentioned about Buckinghamshire. 1 million files being hoarded that can change history. Fort Halstead, a secret science laboratory where experiments happen, but we're not allowed to go there.
Just out of curiosity, and I'm being very serious. So these things that you're citing, can people who are watching this just check it online?
You can check it, you can Google it, you can't visit it because they're heavily secured.
So it's not declassified CIA documents then?
This is declassified MI6 documents.
Okay, but whatever it is, you just said it can be accessed online, so it's not declassified if it can be accessed.
No, it can be accessed from their own website. They've admitted that we have this facility, but the thing is, the British are very clever in the sense that they just don't talk about things. For example, when the whole Gaza-Palestine, with the whole Gaza things going on, they just don't mention that stuff. There's an convoy going with George Galloway. They just didn't cover it. If it doesn't get covered, it's not in the consciousness.
You don't know
of
about
people. You don't know about it. They stop talking about Syria. That's it. They stop talking about going blue for Sudan. That's it. Khalas. That's why I'm saying, if you rely on mainstream media, that's it.
I don't think
drip.
we're in disagreement at all. I just find that the journeys and the paths.
Oh, sorry,
taking...
I said Fort Halstead. That's a secret scientific lab. You've even got Rudlow Manor, which there's secret interrogations happen there. Even the UFO sightings that are supposedly put forward, that's investigated there. I haven't looked too much into this, but what I'm saying is,
So do aliens exist?
Wallahu alam, I don't know.
Would you like them to exist?
No, because I don't think they'd like us.
Okay.
I think this is what
I can understand that in the context of you. I can understand why an alien wouldn't like you.
Bro, you're gonna say something.
I'm just going to say that I don't think aliens exist.
Thank you, bro. Did you hear what he said?
I don't think if an alien existed, they'd like you.
I think if aliens existed, and this is insane, but I think if aliens existed, then there would be some reference to it in the text of Islam.
There is. When I say there is, I mean in the sense that there
Other creatures exist besides mankind.
no it hasn't been ruled out.
It hasn't been ruled out because they've been mentioned. There is no mentioning of
There's
that.
no mention of dinosaurs then as well, then isn't it?
Sure,
You know what I mean?
but dinosaurs specifically, there's relics to suggest that there was.
But there's no mention of certain creatures that are, I mean, they say there's only 3% like of the ocean has been discovered, but there's those creatures aren't.
That's
gonna be
not an
mentioned.
alien. That's on Earth and it's life. That's marine life on Earth.
There's marine life, but I mean, the Europa, that's literally all water, and there's a layer of ice.
Look, we
Who
digress.
knows when you check there? You know what I mean?
We digress. Easy.
Zeeshan loves it, I can tell you he loves it.
You had a little bit of mini beast there. I like that.
Yeah.
For once,
No,
there's
this
a
is
bit of
brotherly,
friction.
bro. Yo, bro.
Come on, wait.
Let's make up.
How come you not spotted me once?
He's never gonna reply to you.
Perverted behavior. You
Bro,
know?
like a minute ago you were saying if aliens did exist, they wouldn't like me, and you're saying why didn't you spot me? Is this guy for
His
real?
expectations are unreasonable.
You know what I mean?
Look. So secrets exist. I would argue secrets have existed for tens and thousands of years. With
I
different
just think that's
civilizations.
unacceptable, and I'm just not okay with that. And I think
So give us some solutions. Don't trust the mainstream media. Hold those to power to account. Always ask questions. Don't rely on what's being fed to you. Don't succumb yourself mentally, financially, physically to stuff that's being fed to you via your screens. Hey, boom. Is that cool? Is that a good
What he's
mental
saying,
starter pack?
yeah, that's brilliant.
Is that a good mental
Exactly.
starter pack?
Mashallah, very good.
Yeah, and he's saying his solution is that he wants to give life to this information and bring it to let people access it. Let them know by giving it names. Operation this, operation this, operation this.
By
operation
giving
this.
it credible sources that people aren't going to be like, yeah, that's wishy-washy. Like they can't say Operation Northwood is wishy-washy. It's established. If that can happen and has happened, you can't then say it can't happen again.
How would you then counter if someone turned around and said to you, well, look, our government or this corporation or whoever it may be have had to resort to these kind of lifestyles and these kind of choices and these kind of very shady, murky, secretive actions and policies for the betterment of the people, for the betterment and the interest of the country. And you know how patriotism and nationalism is
Then allow us to do that in our daily lives. Why are you controlling us and telling us to lead a certain life, follow certain rules when you can't be doing the same thing? Why a different law for us and a different law for you?
But we know that
Because when things do go wrong, when that whole credit crisis happened, then we end up paying the price. You guys just get reimbursement from our money, from the government, and then it's all fine now. And you guys get your bonuses. That's messed.
it is messed up.
That's messed up.
It is messed
When things go wrong, there's no accountability for them. When things go wrong for us, just sling them in Guantanamo, sling them here, sling them there. It doesn't work like that, bro. Lives are being ruined. Lives are being ruined because of disparity.
Okay, so besides your cringeworthy news recaps and the declassified podcast, which is you haven't seemed to have uploaded one for time, what are you doing about it?
Sorry, can you say? What did you say?
What are you doing about it?
What did you say?
What are you doing about this whole thing?
I'm on Bad Brothers.
Well, he's bad as well.
No, us two. We're bad. He's the good one.
You nicely wormed that one out. But what are you doing then? Are we going to see more declassified podcasts discussing this stuff? Are we going to see more content? That's
Try and stop me, bro.
okay. That's good.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Do you know what?
It's interesting what he's saying. He's saying the weekly recaps. The thing is, I haven't pushed that enough because I was scared that I wouldn't be consistent. But alhamdulillah, it is. And my philosophy is you keep your head down. I keep my head down and I keep doing it. I stay away from people. I stay away from too much praise. I just keep plodding along and keep plodding out content. The more you start interacting with people and they start praising you and saying, oh, you're amazing, it makes you too relaxed, complacent, and you end up thinking you've made it when
Sometimes
in reality
the quality of your work could diminish.
exactly.
Yeah.
When you've got Steve Crowder and all these guys getting hundreds and thousands and we're getting like 20, 10, 15, more work needs to be done. It needs to be done regularly, consistently. And there's other things like if you open the can of worms, you're like, how do you do it? How do you become consistent? Well, you got to follow the deen. Yeah, the principle and the solutions come from Allah. I mean, if you tap into the source, I mean, you're getting it fresh. Yeah, you're getting unadulterated knowledge from the Quran that no one can touch. No one can touch that. like you said, you questioned everything. You said, what about this? What about that? You can question everything. You can question even things. I mean, even theory of relativity has been questioned against neutron stars. Apparently, it breaks down. There's certain clusters that have been found in the Big Bang Theory that defy the entire theory. I mean, things can go up and down, but never can what Allah said be wrong. Never can what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said be wrong. And that's the first and foremost starting point. Once you are grounded in your faith and you understand yourself and who you are, because nowadays our identity is being confused. Yeah, there's this identity, there's that identity, you're this, you're that, or maybe you're this, or maybe you're that. And you're too busy, you come home, you're watching a program, you're being told constantly, your brain's in alpha format, you're being fed stuff. You don't have time to kind of just sit down, go out, you know, just sit outside for 2 hours, just listening to nature and replenishing your DNA segments and decreasing your depression, eating healthy foods, being cautious about what you're eating, going to the gym, looking after your mother.
Have you been going to the gym?
I've started.
That's good.
Started doing what?
Going to the gym.
What?
You're not listening to yourself.
No, I'm just trying to establish what you're trying to achieve, really.
Bro,
You said,
you know, if I tense this, bro, it's just gonna be game over.
if you tense that, you might break your own arm, mate.
Bro,
You can say, man, I will straighten it again.
I take this guy seriously, but I just can't stop staring at his family pack.
Okay. But look, okay, Tika, so you know all the stuff that we've discussed, do you then see that Islam as a comprehensive way of life, as a deen, as an ideology, as a fully holistic way of life is an actual alternative, not just an alternative, but an actual resistance to everything that we've discussed?
100%, and history bears testament to that.
Alhamdulillah.
Islam is something that has worked, it continues to work, and that's why people are cheesed off with it.
And
Every other way of life is constantly being challenged, it's morphed, it's being changed. Islam, unadulterated, it's there. And after every certain amount of, like 1,000 years or 100 years or whatever, Allah sends reformers, mujaddids. So the
was it
deen
100
will-
years?
I know there's
100.
one after every.
Well, it's
100.
Qurun, or it's so
there's
generation
a-
100 years.
Generation
Yeah.
100 years. So
But
yeah.
that's, I mean, we're being looked after. We're being looked after. And the thing is,
Do you
it's
think
very
do
important.
you think you're a mujaddid in the sense of a YouTube?
No chance.
Yeah, you know.
No.
Carry on.
No way,
Yeah,
bro.
you know.
Yeah, stuff like that, no.
Yeah.
I do hope that I can give rise to somebody like that. I always pray that in my progeny, Allah, you know, somebody comes that is the one that stands in front of the Dajjal, and the Dajjal, you know, vanquishes that person.
Inshallah.
But we should make du'as like that. That in
course.
our progeny, because of us, and that Allah, our blood, Allah keeps
Absolutely.
purified.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, if you make dua, make it big or go home, innit? And on that note, I guess this very Ajib episode of the Blood Brothers.
you had me
Just
on the
done it.
defense a lot.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good because you know what?
But we're
A
not
lot
done
of
yet. Jam
people,
yourself, innit?
What?
We're not
No,
done.
no, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm just saying that because a lot of conspiracies do just get shut down or whatnot. So it's good that it was a realistic back and forth.
Yeah.
Because this is how it's going to be in real life. When you do bring out some of this stuff, even when you talk about conspiracies like working, doing stuff for 5 pillars, people are going to be like, Dilly working? I mean, you know, what?
Conspiracy.
That's not, it is a conspiracy, you know. They'll see no evidence for it when I look there. It's,
Okay, look, just so you
do you see it wobbling?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a stomach, innit? Look, Jazakallah khair for coming on.
Bro,
No.
it's an absolute pleasure.
Really?
100%.
Honestly.
Honestly, bro, wallah, man. Anything for you. Anything for you. This is just for those mugs watching. Wallahi, man. Dilly, first time you came on my podcast, wallahi, we click like this.
We did it.
We click like this. Ever since then, bro, we've clicked. This has just been for these guys. Bro, come on, man. Come on, bro. But Dilly is my brother. Blood brother.
Mas sakapra hai to.
100%, bro. 100%.
Anyway.
But we're all doing different things in different
Of course.
different means.
Look, you know, every guest that we have on the podcast, we invite them to 3 challenges.
I wouldn't know because I didn't watch.
I know that. You don't watch.
That's what we're telling you, innit?
That's what we're telling you, innit? Dun 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 dun. Obviously,
Why is there another done in there?
I added it. I did 2. So, an arm wrestle,
But dying to see your hair, you know that, bruv.
Yeah?
I've been thinking, is he bald? Has he got plaits?
Bald but with hair on the side?
Has he got tattoo?
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, the tin
Mr.
Burns.
Yeah.
Burns. Montgomery Burns. Smithers. Smithers. So listen.
Yeah.
It's arm wrestle, but I feel so bad giving you an arm wrestle. I
Oh no, I don't think you stand much of a chance, you know.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
You might just look at the pack and be like,
Thumb war,
not 2 pack, but this is 1 pack.
thumb war, or you have to try some pawn, which I've actually finished.
Nah, let me have a look. Pause, yeah.
Let me try the finished bun.
There's loads, bro.
No, there's Chupari and there's Chaman Bahar.
That's right.
What about like a sandwich or something?
No,
No?
this is a Bangladesh.
We're gonna get you
delicacy.
crunk.
Put something
Come
in
on.
the sandwich or something.
No. So, would you like an arm wrestle?
Yeah, go on then.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll let you use 2 arms.
Alright.
Go on then.
Alright, go.
This is even jokes. It should be fun. Are you left-handed?
No, right-handed.
MashaAllah. But I think you're the kind of guy, even if you were left-handed, you'd force yourself to become right-handed. Okay, so you're allowed to use 2 arms.
Round 1. Fight.
Alright, 3. Yes!
He won.
I won.
What did you think? You think he was gonna get an arm wrestle? But he got 2 arms. He was standing. His finger was coming out like this.
All I can say is, I felt a lot of moisture in my hand.
Sweaty palms.
Sweaty pits, man.
That was so, like, I didn't expect that, Zeeshan.
Bro, come on.
It's called an ambush.
That was an ambush.
Okay, you're necking.
used to it, mate.
You're necking some palm though.
Okay, try some Chupari.
Alright,
It's
go on,
nice.
go on.
No, there's not one because I finished it.
That's fine. Look.
So this is...
Oh, Sabari, I like Sabari.
Yeah, so have a morsel then.
where are you from in Pakistan?
The Pakistan bit.
No, the main... So
Yeah, what's it you
I
from?
live in the main bit.
Yeah, so not Kashmiri.
No.
Yeah, because Lahoris and Papa Punjabis, they have pan. They have mitta pan. Whereas it's not really a Kashmiri thing, is it? The Lahoris love it. Hold on. And a bit of sweetness.
Be generous with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
That smells nice though.
Yeah,
It is
tastes
nice.
better.
It is nice. Try some
Yeah?
Yeah, if you don't like it.
It's sweet, isn't it? It's sweet. It's aromatic.
Are you being serious?
Nah. He's messing
No,
around.
you can't. No, here.
Nah.
It's okay.
He's you got a bit of support in your beard.
Yeah.
Save it for the journey, yo.
Zeeshan, aka Smile2Jannah.
Hi!
It was an absolute pleasure, my dear brother.
Barakallahu feek for having me, bro.
Flood Brothers podcast, a 5 Pillars of Mad Mamluks production.